Welcome to Comentarios, a podcast dedicated to helping you learn Spanish. Brought to you by Spanish Learning Resources on the web at www.studyspanish.com. I'm Alfredo Duarte. This episode builds upon the previous episode, Gender of Nouns, Part 1. In that episode, you learned that nouns ending in O are usually masculine, and nouns ending in A are usually feminine. In this episode, you will learn about the gender of nouns that do not necessarily end with an O or an A. There are a lot of nouns that stand for people that have two forms. The masculine form ends in a consonant, and the feminine form ends in the letter A. Both words mean basically the same thing, except that one refers to the male person while the other refers to the female person. The most notable of these pairs of words is one that you are probably familiar with, Senor and Senora. The masculine form, Senor, ends in a consonant, and the feminine form, Senora, ends with the letter A. They mean the same thing, but one refers to the male person and the other refers to the female person. Senor means sir or gentleman, while Senora means ma'am or lady. So, if you see a masculine noun that ends in a consonant and stands for a person, it is likely that there will be a corresponding feminine form that ends with the letter A. Listen now as I say a few word pairs that fall into this category. As I say the words, think about which one is masculine and which one is feminine. El profesor.
Masculine.
La profesora.
Feminine.
El doctor.
Masculine.
La doctora.
Feminine.
El señor.
Masculine.
La señora.
Feminine.
Listen again, and as I say each word, respond by saying out loud either masculine or feminine. Remember, for these words, the masculine form ends in a consonant, while the feminine form ends in the letter A. El profesor.
Masculine.
Did you say masculine?
Yep.
La profesora.
Feminine.
Did you say feminine?
Sure did.
El doctor.
Masculine.
La doctora.
Feminine.
I will now repeat the words again. Again, listen carefully as I say a word in Spanish, but this time, after I say it, I want you to repeat it out loud in Spanish. As you say the word in Spanish, just be aware of whether it is a masculine word or a feminine word, but put most of your concentration into imitating the way I say the words. Okay, here we go again. Remember, repeat the words after me in Spanish, and just be aware of whether the word is masculine or feminine. Again, in these examples, the masculine forms end in a consonant, and feminine forms end in the letter A. Listen and repeat. El profesor.
El profesor.
La profesora.
La profesora.
El doctor.
El doctor.
La doctora.
La doctora.
El señor.
El señor.
La señora.
La señora.
Let's do it again. I'll say the words and you try to imitate me as closely as possible. Really concentrate on how I say the words and try to make your words sound just like mine. El profesor.
El profesor.
La profesora.
La profesora.
El doctor.
El doctor.
La doctora.
La doctora.
El señor.
El señor.
La señora.
La señora.
Now let's try something a little different. Again, I'm going to say the words, and again, I want you to repeat them after me, imitating exactly the way I say the words. But this time, as you are saying the words, I want you to think about the meaning of the words. Here we go. Remember, as I say the words, you repeat, and at the same time, think about the meaning. El profesor.
El profesor.
La profesora.
La profesora.
El doctor.
El doctor.
La doctora.
La doctora.
Did you think about the meaning after I said the words? Ha, I tricked you again. Just like in the previous episode, I never told you the meaning of the words, but you knew them anyway. In the previous episode, you learned about loan words, Spanish words that have found their way into the English language. You learned that these loan words are usually spelled the same way in both languages, and that there are subtle differences in how they are pronounced. Their meanings, of course, are the same. Loan words are words like taco, burrito, mosquito, salsa, and so forth. There is another, even larger group of words that also appear in both languages. There is often a slight difference in how these words are spelled, but they are usually easy to recognize. The reason these words, called cognates, appear in both languages is because they share common roots. Usually, these roots can be traced back to ancient Latin or Greek. Two of the words we have been using in this lesson are cognates. Listen now as I say these two words, first in English and then in Spanish. Professor, profesor. Doctor, doctor. Listen now as I say some more Spanish words. Because they are all cognates, you will very likely understand their meanings. Absoluto, correcto, directo, error, falso. Were you able to detect the meanings of the words I just said? Now I'm going to say them again, this time in Spanish and in English. Listen very carefully and note how the words are pronounced differently in Spanish than they are in English. Absoluto, absolute. Correcto, correct. Directo, direct. Error, error. Falso, false. There are many, many cognates. This is great news for you because it means that right away you know the meaning of hundreds and even thousands of Spanish words. But I feel I must warn you, there are also false cognates. These are words that look the same but do not mean the same thing in both languages. For now, let's not even think about these falsos amigos. Let's just be thankful for the many true cognates that do exist. Enough about cognates. Let's get back to the gender of nouns. Some nouns that refer to people use the same form for both masculine and feminine. For these nouns, gender is indicated by the article el or la. You'll learn more about these articles in a later episode, but for now, you can just think of them as gender markers, with masculine nouns being preceded by the word el and feminine words being preceded by the word la. Listen now as I say a few words. As luck would have it, these words are also cognates. El estudiante, la estudiante, el pianista, la pianista, el artista, la artista. Now I'll say them again, this time in both Spanish and English, just in case you weren't able to detect the meaning. El estudiante, student. El pianista, pianist. El artista, artist. Finally, listen and repeat. Think about the meaning and try to make your words sound just like mine. El estudiante,
estudiante,
la estudiante,
la estudiante,
el pianista,
el pianista,
la pianista,
la pianista,
el artista,
el artista,
la artista.
la artista.
Muy bien, amigo. That wraps up our episode on Gender of Nouns, Part 2.
Alright folks, in the next video I'll be looking at taking a quiz, the second quiz. Until then, see you next time.